Have you bought one of these? In which case this following video may be of use to you. It shows the modifications I've done to the ends, both ends, to make it square and look correct. And then there is a second video attached which shows how I've modified the bogies to run on 32mm wide track, of which I'm selling the kits to actually do these. So please watch the other video to see the conversion to 32mm. Okay, so does yours look like this? Because mine did. And what we're going to do is the mod to correct the problem. So the first thing to do is we have to remove all of this lot, and that's held on by, if I can go to it. In fact, my end is missing the screws completely. There should be a screw in each of those holes, which I'll point out. Mine's missing, typical. There we go, there should be a screw in there and a screw in there, as I will show on the other end. And if we come up to this end, you can see there's a screw there and a screw there. Right, so the first thing to do is to undo the screws. Well, in my case, I don't have any to undo. And then we literally pop. Sorry to mess around with the video. Let's try and bring it into focus. Right, so the first thing to do is to remove all of this. So unpop it from the top, take out the two screws, which in my case there aren't any. And that's the part you've got. So the next job now is to straighten that piece out. So I'll just put the coach down a moment. It's all a bit there because the roof is just fallen off. Right. So the next job we have to do is to straighten all this out. And the best way to do that is with a hairdryer, just heating up the bits of plastic and bending it accordingly. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Right, that's mine all straightened up. Now the next task to do is, if we look underneath, again I'll point them out, when it comes into focus, you've got where the screw goes in, and then you've got a little pin there. If we go to the other side, we've got a pin, and where the screw goes. Now the problem is, that pin should be on that side, and that pin should be on that side, to line up with the holes, which I will show you. There we are. You can see you've got the screw hole, and the hole for the pin is totally on the wrong side. So instead of drilling out or the chassis, what I do is to actually just cut off the pin, which I will do. Right, so I've now cut off my pin on both sides, and we will now position this back in again. Right, I'm now about to position it back on again, and isn't that a lot better? All because they put the pins in the wrong places. Now all I've got to do is to put two screws up underneath. As I didn't have any, I'll just have to find a couple of my own little self-tappers, which I will now do. Right, continuation. We're not doing too clever here at the moment. I've just also noticed that end. We have the hook and a somewhat crude spring. And then we come down to the other end and it's missing. Ah dear, this poor Chinese chap, he had a real problem, didn't he? And this is the end also that I had to put my own screws in. So I guess he went off and had a chow mein or something, and forgot to do it when he came back. Never mind, what do you expect for your pennies? Right, as I'm going to be replacing this whole bogie assembly with my own design to suit 32mm, I'm not too fussed, to be honest. Right, the next problem, which isn't really a problem, is this particular part here. If you actually put it into what I guess is the correct receptacle for it to drop into, then when you view from the side, you'll see that it goes up at an angle and pushes the bar out. Now, unfortunately, there's no way of sliding this whole thing up, because where it clips on is a slight recess that's been turned into the pole. So all I'm going to do is just move it over, as you can see, and put it between the handrail and where it should go, and hey presto, it lines up, and that's good enough for me. Right, move on to the next omission, if that's the right word. We have a sliding door. As you can see, it actually does slide. Problem is, there doesn't appear to be any handles on the door. So that, I think, is something that's missing, and the other end is exactly the same. But never mind. You can see what I've done with the handles there, or the bit that rotates, or whatever you want to call it. You can see it's definitely down below where it should belong. But then when you view from the side, everything's straight. So what it really needs is this particular pivot here and here. That whole thing wants to go up a bit. But as you can see, the actual cut where that clocks into has got a slight recess, been turned down. So it just won't go further up. It's obviously a design problem.